My hair is at that horrible in-between stage. I'm trying to grow it out, you know, or I'm forever between wearing it short and then deciding I want it long again and growing it back out. So it's at that horrible in-between stage of being short and being shoulder length, and I hate it. But we're not here for that. We're here to talk about books. What up, nerds? Welcome to my channel, The Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie Smith, and if this is your first time visiting, I like to talk about all of the things that I read here on the channel. Pop in about once a week, just do a quick little update about all things bookish, and then we move on. So we're going to start with, I did get a couple of new books. They're sort of. So I love the Fourth Wing series. What is that series called? The Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. And I actually owned these in hardback, but when I got the third book, which is called Onyx Storm, I got the special edition that Books A Million put out, and then they decided, you know what? We're silly. Why don't we do special editions to match of the first two books? And so I finally got those this week. So all that's really changed, I think, is just the end pages. I don't think there's anything different on the naked hardback. Nope. It just has the sprayed edges. So I sold my other hardbacks on Pango Books. I had the actual first edition printing of Fourth Wing. I don't care. I don't need to have all of that. So now I have all the pretty end pages. So those are my new books. I've read them already. That series is a guilty pleasure for me. I can't wait for the next book because Rebecca Yarros, at the end of every stinking book, she does something that just makes me so excited for the next book. So now we're going to talk about what I finished this week. So unfortunately, I caught the ick, so I didn't get a whole lot of reading done. My reading plans just kind of went to shit when I got sick. So every year about this time, I catch something. It's from all the little germ spreaders going to Halloween Horror Nights that don't know how to wash their hands often, or they go up there when they're sick. So I always catch the ick, and this was my time of year to get it. So I was down, but fortunately, I was only down maybe 3 days. So I am grateful for that at least. So I only finished volume 20 of One Piece, and then I finished the arc for Chad Nicholas's new release coming out next week. I'll have a link if you want to pre-order it down in the description below. It's called 1 Gram Night. It was a quick read, or I don't know if it was just on the shorter side or if I just flew through it. But this is Chad Nicholas's take on the Locked Door mystery suspense thriller. It was actually a project he wrote in college. The project was to write a screenplay, and when you're reading it, you can tell the descriptions are very visual. So if you're a visual reader like I am, you're going to be able to picture these scenes really well because of the descriptive way that they're written. When Chad adapted this into a novel, he kept that very visual description. So it is a dark reimagining of a lot of classic fairy tales that we grew up on. Now, if you've been reading the retellings that T. Kingfisher has been coming out, she's been doing some dark retellings of her own. I think you might would have fun with this one. So to me, Chad Nicholas is a slasher author, and when I picked this one up, I'm like, this is gonna have some slashery vibes to it, and it absolutely did. And I will admit, about the first maybe 5 chapters, I was going, all right, what are we doing here? Like, how is this gonna be different? And then it happened. I mean, it was I had the best time. I haven't written my review yet. I'm going to try to get that up in the next day or two and get it shared over on Amazon when it's published. I had the best time. There was one part of it that I think I could have cut that and been fine, or maybe presented it in a little bit different way, but I can't tell you what it is because it would be a complete spoiler. But my goodness, this was just so unexpected. Chad took these fairy tale characters, and I don't know if this changed when he made it into the novel or if it was this way in the screenplay, but these characters, you look at them from a completely different perspective. They have a kind of a modern day take on how they might have ended up in the stories that they were in and why. A small example. Little Red Riding Hood. She's running through the forest. She's trying to escape the big bad wolf. Why? Why was she in the forest? Why was she running from the big bad wolf? And was she originally running from the big bad wolf, or was she running from something else? That's kind of what I'm talking about. So really, really enjoyed that. Like I said, if you've been reading the Kingfisher retellings, I think you might would like this one too. So those are the two things that I finished this week. As far as what I am currently reading, I am now moved on to volume 21 of One Piece. Love that manga so much. And I'm still working on Grand Conspiracy by Janie Wirtz. This is book 5 in the Wars of Light and Shadow. It's an epic fantasy tale. About halfway. We're going to be having a live show discussion this month, and that's coming up real soon. So I think my best bet is to not start a new book. I know after I finished One Grim Night, I had plans to start immediately on No Heart for a Thief by James Lloyd Doolin. But with that deadline approaching for the live show, which I don't have a date, as soon as I have that, I'll share that for fans of this series. So I'll probably, and especially with it being the weekend, I mean, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, do a lot of stuff with my husband. I don't spend much time reading. So I think the time that I do have, I'm going to devote to this one. I do need to get this one finished sooner rather than later, so I'm ready for the live show. So this is going to be my big focus this weekend and this next week. I am also still listening to Bryn Weaver's latest release, Tourist Season. I love this book. She said on her socials that this was her most favorite book she's ever written. I can see why. I am having the best time with these characters. They are so I think these are the best characters. And I know those of you that have listened to or read the Ruinous Love trilogy, you're going, there's no way that the Kane brothers could ever be topped. And you know, I would have agreed, like, especially Lark. Lark, I think, is my favorite character from that trilogy, but you need to meet Harper and Nolan. I am loving it, just loving it. I think I have about 3 hours left to listen in that one, and then I'll be finished with it, and that's probably going to happen, and if not today, probably tomorrow. So that brings us to what am I going to be reading next? So my main focus is going to be on Grand Conspiracy. That's a physical read only. So I do have an opening to slide in an audiobook or two, and my library totally disrupted my TBR because it dropped 2 of my holds into my little Libby app between yesterday and today. The first one is Philip Fracassi's new release, which is, let me make sure I get this title right, The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre. So that came out on September 30th. As soon as I could get it available in Libby to put on hold, I did. So I've got the audiobook. I failed in my job. I did not look up to see who the narrator is. But this one says it is brimming with dark humor, violence, and mystery. The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre is a blood-soaked slasher sure to keep readers cringing, laughing, and guessing until the very last page. That's going to be new for me for Philip Fracassi. The things that I've read by him so far have been on the more serious side and definitely horror through and through. Boys in the Valley, y'all, if you're looking for a super creepy religious horror for the month of October for a good spooky read, I cannot recommend that one enough. So I'm excited to see the comedy, the humor side of this author, and he is an auto-buy author for me, so anything he's going to put out, I'm going to be getting my hands on. So that has priority number 1 for as soon as I finish tourist season, and then Libby hit me with a second hold that I've been waiting on, and that one is Slewfoot by Brahm. Never read anything by this author. Slewfoot was recommended to me by my friend Heidi. I also saw in a recent upload of Mike's book reviews that was listed in his horror recommendations video. So this one I am very, very excited. And these next two books I'm going to be listening to on audio, they are just perfect for this month. So Libby, thank you for coming through clutch for me with some good spooky reads. Now Slewfoot, this one falls into the historical fiction side of horror, and it's set in colonial New England. It's a tale of magic and mystery, of triumph and terror, as only dark fantasist Brom can tell it. Okay, well, unfortunately, I haven't read anything by this author before, so I don't know how he can tell it, but I'm looking forward to finding out for the first time. So, this was a super, super quick update from me because I caught the ick. So that's everything I've been up to reading-wise over the last week. I am hoping to come out swinging next week with some really great updates for you all. So I hope you'll be tuned in to see what happened with these next ones that I'm going to be finishing and the next ones I'm going to be starting. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.